Hey guys, it's Ray. Welcome to another drawing video, and today I'm going to be going over the do's and don'ts of realistic portrait drawing. The products I'm using today are a mechanical pencil, a charcoal pencil, and the world's dirtiest tortillon. So like last time, the left side will be the don'ts and the right side will be the do's. So for starting off, let's talk about arguably the hardest part of portrait drawing, and that is getting your proportions correct. And trust me, I know that the struggle is real when it comes to perfectly proportioned facial features. It's super easy to make an eyeball just a little bit too big or make a nose just a little bit too small, especially if your natural style is more on the unrealistic side, or you're used to drawing more cartoony facial features. So now that I'm happy with the do side proportions, I'm going to go ahead and start working on the don't proportions. And for these ones, I'm just going to go buck wild and draw super crazy proportions that are very unrealistic. For the eyebrow, I'm just scratching away and just not really giving it that much attention. For the eye, I'm going to do super large anime style proportions. As you can see, the regular eye is much smaller than this big hunker that I'm working on. Some of the unrealistic traits in this video include an iris that's perfectly circular, an eyelid that's pretty much the same width from the tear duct all the way to the end, a very, very tiny nose, and some pretty crazy lips. Alright, so let's move on to step number 2, and that is the most important step of all steps that could ever step, and that is shadows. Shadows are going to turn your portrait from 2D to 3D. So right now I'm building up my shadows. You don't want to start with a straight up black charcoal pencil right off the bat. You want to get a nice idea of where you want your shadows to be. Keep in mind, this process can take forever, but keep in mind that in the end you'll have some shadows that will transition into each other nicely. So if you're new to shadows and you're freaking out because you don't know where to put them or how to place them, I'm going to share a little tiny secret that is just the world of a difference, and that is using a makeup contour chart. And you're probably thinking, Ray, what does makeup have to do with drawing? But where you put makeup is pretty much the same place where you create shadows and stuff in drawing. And I'll go ahead and put in a chart right now so you can know what I'm talking about. This is called a makeup contour chart, and this is pretty much a goldmine when it comes to references for shadows and highlights. So basically where the brown spots are, that's where you're going to put shadow. Where the white spots are, that's where you're going to put highlights, and where everything else is just normal skin, that's where you're going to have the mid-tone at. And yeah, you can pretty much just Google contour chart and a billion of these will show up. Alright, so now that I got the base shadows going on, I'm going to go ahead and go in with my favorite tool, and that's a charcoal pencil, and I'm just going to go ahead and make everything super dark, super black, and that is very important when creating realistic elements because it's going to give you that range that you couldn't achieve with just a basic mechanical pencil. Oh, and here's a little bonus tip for you guys. If your charcoal pencil is coming off way too heavy, go ahead and get some, put it on your fingertips, and it'll create like a super light dusting of the charcoal, and it's really important whenever you're trying to build up your shadows to not immediately go straight to black. Alright, so here's like a little check-in of the two. As you can see, it's starting to come together. We haven't talked about the don'ts in a while, so right now I'm just going all in with a very heavy hand and not building up any of the shadows, and I'm going to be very lightly blending them. And you can already tell the difference between the shadows that were built up and the ones that weren't. The final step is probably the most overlooked step, and that is adding details. I know it can be tedious to add every single eyebrow, every single individual hair, but trust me, it'll give you that 3D look, and it'll really set you apart from cartoon style, you know? So right now I'm just adding eyebrows, I'm adding eyelashes, I'm adding more shadows, and also taking away shadows, adding crinkle to the lips, and just general cleanup of the drawing. For the don't side, I'm going to add eyelashes, but I'm not going to add any tender love and care. I'm just going to kind of merp on them and just kind of wing it. And so lastly, I'm just going to go back one more time and clean up even more, add more shadows, add more detail, and try to make it look more realistic. So now that we're finished, I'm going to show you guys the individual faces with the other one covered up. So, drum roll please! So as you can see, everything is really harsh. The shadows are harsh, the hard lines are harsh, the non-anatomically correct proportions are really harsh, and that's something you're going to want to try to avoid when doing realistic portrait drawings. So switching on to the other side, you can definitely tell the difference. Just these little tips and tricks can really help you get that realistic element and can make a world of a difference to your portrait. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you'd like to see more free art tutorials like this, all you have to do is subscribe. I'll leave all my links down below, and I'll see you next time.